So in the last session, we have discussed the various data types inside your Apex programming and how to use these data types in order to define the variables, and what is the syntax we need to follow to define a variable, and how can we assign the values for the variables, and how can we retrieve the values, and then how to print the variables or the messages onto the debug log file by using system.debug statement we have discussed. Okay, now today we'll see how to write your Apex programming code, what are the various ways available in Salesforce to write your Apex programming code, and how can we execute, how many ways are there to execute your Apex programming code. We'll see practically. Okay, now let's see the ways to write the Apex programming code. How many ways are available in Salesforce to write your Apex code? Basically, inside your Apex programming or inside your Salesforce, we have 4 ways are available to write your Apex programming code. In order to write the code, we have 4 ways are available. So what are those 4 ways to write your Apex programming code? Now let's see what is the navigation of each and every way, how to write, how to compile, how to see the code. We'll see practically here. Okay, now. So in this case, Salesforce provides the 4 ways. Okay, we have the 4 ways. We have the below 4 ways to write the Apex code. In order to write your Apex programming code, we have these 4 ways. First one, by using standard navigation. Second one, by using developer console. Third one, by using execute anonymous window. And the fourth one, by using Eclipse IDE or Visual Studio Code Editor or Visual Studio Code Editor. So this is also called as a VS Code. VS Code Editor. These are the 4 ways are available in Salesforce to write your Apex programming code. Whatever the business logics you are going to implement, that business logic you can able to write by using these 4 mechanisms. Now let's see each and every way one by one, how to write, how to save the code, how to compile. We'll see practically. The first one, by using standard navigation. By using this standard navigation, we can write your business logic in the form of a class. Okay, we can write the business logic in the form of a class. So we have to prepare a class. Inside that class, we can define your own variables. You can write the business logic whatever you want. Then where exactly this standard navigation, how can we write this code? Now let's see. In order to go to the standard navigation, go to the setup menu, go to the build menu in the left panel, click on develop, click on Apex classes, click on this new button to create a new Apex class. Write the Apex code inside the editor and then click on save or quick save button. Click on save or quick save button. And the observation is it will compile the code and store the compiled code inside the metadata repository. Inside the metadata repository, your code will be saving successfully. So this is the navigation in order to write your code by using that standard navigation process. Go to the setup menu, go to the build, click on develop and the Apex classes. And then we can create our own new Apex class by using the new button, write the code inside the editor given by the Salesforce, and then click on either save or quick save button. As soon as once you click on either save or quick save button, whatever the code that you are written, the code will be sending to the force.com platform for the compilation. Once the code has been compiled successfully, the compiled code will be storing inside the metadata repository. From there, we can able to invoke that code also. Okay. Now, so now let me show you practically in this case here. Now, so let's go to the navigation. Go to the build menu in the left panel. Click on develop and click on Apex classes. So now it will populate what are the various Apex classes that you have prepared in the past. So now I would like to create a new Apex class. So click on new button. Now it is providing a small editor to you. Inside this editor, we have to write the Apex programming code and then we have to save that code by using either save button or quick save button. But in this case, the drawback is it is purely like as a normal notepad. White background, black text, that's it. It won't provide any intelligence. Intelligence means what? Whenever I'm going to be writing some code, then sometimes I need some online help. Like upon giving the object name dot, it has to populate all the fields information to me because I'm unable to remember all the fields available inside my object, so that I need an online help which will list out or which will populate all the fields available inside my object, so that I can supply the value for those fields and I can create the records also through programming. But in this case, this standard navigation won't provide any intelligence feature because it is purely like as a normal notepad content. It's purely like as normal notepad content, white background and the black text. So now everything, each and every syntax, each and every class name, each and every object name, each and every field name, method name, property name, everything we have to remember manually here. Okay, we don't have any online help mechanism over here. Now, so now I would like to write that code here. I would like to create a small class. In order to increase the font, because it is looking like as the font is very, very small. If you want to increase the font, you will be having that capital A symbol. So now click on this one so that you can increase the font also. To decrease the font, we are using this small a symbol here. So depends upon your requirement, we can able to increase the font and decrease the font also. So now I'm preparing a small class, public class, sample class. Okay, now. So forget about this syntax part here, because during that object-oriented programming, we'll see how to prepare these classes and what exactly public, what exactly class we'll see. Okay. But if you want to write the code inside this standard navigation, we have to prepare a class. So I'm preparing the class with the name some sample class. And then I would like to define some members inside this. Like as integer, customer code. I want to define string, some customer name. And then I would like to specify the location. And then email ID. I want to define decimal balance amount. Balance amount. And then Boolean is active. Whether the customer is active or not. So that I am defining this variable here. and then I would like to define date, birth date, joining date. Like that here, I'm defining some variables inside my class. So that whenever we are writing the code by using the standard navigation, always you have to write that code inside the class itself. Okay. Always you have to prepare a class. Inside that class, you have to define the members, whatever you want here. Okay. Now, so once you are done with that code, then click on save button or quick save button. So now upon doing some mistake, then how can we identify? For example, here I'm removing this semicolon, that's line number 6. That means here as part of Apex programming, that already we have discussed about some principles and some rules that every statement in Apex programming should be ends with a semicolon. But I have removed that semicolon here, or else I forgot to write that semicolon. Then in this case, when I try to compile, what will happen? Let's see. Once you click on that save button, it will compile that code. It is indicating that error message. There is a compilation error is available here. Unexpected token balance amount. That means here, the statement is not ended properly. So please make that statement to be ended properly by using semicolon. So now that it is indicating that in that line number 6 at the column number 13, there is a error is available. It is indicating clearly. At what line number the error has been occurred, it will be indicating clearly. So now based on that line number and the column number, we can go to that location and then we can able to rectify that code here. I'm specifying the semicolon. Now click on save button. Once you click on save, automatically a class will be getting prepared inside your metadata repository, and along with that, this class code will be storing inside your Apex class object also automatically by default here. Okay. So this is the way we are going to be using the standard navigation to write the piece of code which is used to perform some operations inside your organization. Okay. So this is the business logic class we are going to be preparing by using that standard navigation. Clear? Now. So in this case, we can raise a question. Sir, after defining these 5 lines of code, now just now my client asked me to add one more line of code. Okay, to define an ID variable also here. Then what we can do? How can we modify this class code? Click on edit button. We have to write one more line of code also. For example, my client asked me to store the city name. Now, I'm saving this one. Just now my client asked me to add one more line over here. So click on edit. I'm writing some more piece of code also. Like some PAN number. PAN number. So in this case, keep on, we have to click on save button, edit button, save button, edit button. It is keep on moving that from one editor to another editor here. In this case, can't we stay in the same editor? Yes, there is a possibility. How? After writing that piece of code, once you click on that, the quick save button. Still, okay, the code will be saving into the metadata repository. Still, you will be in the same editor over here to write some more code. Okay, clear? Now, so in this case here, we can write some more line of code, like some passport number. Passport number. And then click on Control S. Or else you can use a shortcut mechanism, Control S. Okay. Now click on quick save. Now the code has been saved successfully, but still you will be in the same editor over here. Okay. Clear? Now. So now here in this case, for example, okay, for example, assume that I have opened this editor. I am writing some piece of code. By spending some 2 hours of time, I have written some 100 lines of code. I haven't saved the class code. Okay, I haven't saved this class code. So now keep on, I'm writing that code. Okay, there is an important the task I need to complete by today end of the day. So that here keep on, I'm writing that code. Now I haven't saved. Suddenly my system has been shut down because of the power went off. So my system has been shut down. Now after 5 minutes, okay, after 5 minutes, when the system has been restored, then when I come to this editor, will this class will be available or not? Whatever the code that I recently entered, that code is available. Now, I haven't saved this class code here. Keep on, I'm writing that suddenly system has been shut down. In this case, whatever the code that you have written, whatever the 100 lines of code that you have written recently, this 100 lines of code will not be available, code will be lost. Because it don't have any auto save option. There is no auto save option available when coming to the standard navigation. This is the first drawback. The first drawback is now this standard navigation won't provide any auto save option. Okay, the class code will not be saved until or unless you are using that save or quick save button, or you are using Control S. Your class code will not be saving that. So in this meantime, if something went wrong, if the system has been shut down, then whatever the lines of code that were written previously, that code will be getting lost. You can't get back that code again here. There is no such possibility. This is the first problem. And the second problem is, upon writing this piece of code, whatever the classes are available, all the class names you have to remember manually. There is no IntelliSense feature inside this standard navigation. IntelliSense means what here? Upon typing some class name, dot automatically all the list of methods will be getting populated. Instead of remembering that, we can able to get that online help. But when coming to the standard navigation, we don't have such kind of IntelliSense feature available by default here. Okay, we don't have any IntelliSense feature. Okay, clear? These are the two drawbacks are available. First one is it won't provide any autosave option. Second one, it won't provide any IntelliSense feature to you because it is purely like as a normal notepad content, white background, and the black text will be getting visible to you. Okay, clear? Now, so let me give that note point here. Drawbacks. It won't provide any autosave option by default. It won't provide any autosave option by default. The code will not be saving automatically. The second one, it won't have the IntelliSense facility. To get the online help about the classes and objects. These are the two major drawbacks are available when coming to the standard navigation. There is no autosave option. There is no IntelliSense facility. Okay? Now, the second one, developer console. Done? Now, the second one, developer console editor. How to use this developer console editor? Now we'll see practically here. You know where exactly the developer console editor option? Where is that option? Okay, on your name, okay, at the top right corner, you will be having the option called as developer console. Okay, now in this case, click on your name and expand it. and then click on Developer Console Editor. Go to the Developer Console Editor. Click on File menu. Go to the new menu item. Click on Apex Class link. Enter the class name inside the text box provided by the dialog box. For example, sample class 2. Click on OK button. Write the Apex class code inside the editor. And then click on Control S to save the class code. To save the class code. In order to use this developer console, this is the navigation we have to use. Done? Now. So now let's see how can we go to this editor, how to write the piece of code, how can we save it, and how can we see the previously written code also. Okay, now let's see practically. Let me go to the Salesforce instance. Go to the top of your organization. You will be having your name is available on the top of that organization. Expand this name, click on Developer Console. Click on Developer Console. Now it is providing a separate editor to you. Okay, so this is the separate editor which has been given by Salesforce by default. Now, to create a new Apex class, go to the File menu. There is a menu bar is available on the top of that editor. Go to that menu bar, click on File. Then what you want to do? I want to create a new. What you want to create? I want to create an Apex class. Okay, I want to create a Apex class. So click on Apex class link. Now it is providing a small dialog box. In this dialog box, specify the name with which name you want to create an Apex class. I'm indicating that name as sample class 2. Click on OK. Now with this name, it is preparing a class. Previously, what happened? This syntax also we have written manually inside the developer console. But here, inside that standard navigation. But here, now this class syntax will be given by that Salesforce itself by default. The template, that format has been given by Salesforce by default. Just you have to define the members of that class. Just you have to write the business logic inside the class itself. No need to prepare the class syntax manually by your own. Now this class syntax has been given by Salesforce. Now, let's define the members inside this. I'm defining some members. Integer, like as some product code. String, some product name, some manufacturer name, and then some location. And the decimal unit price of the product. And then I would like to indicate the Boolean parameter is in stock, whether this product is available in stock or not. I want to indicate that date, manufacturing date, expiry date. Okay, these are the members here. So I'm writing this a piece of code. Okay, I'm writing this piece of code. So now whenever I'm going to be writing the code inside this developer console, then for every 10 fraction of seconds, automatically Salesforce will send this code to the first.com platform for the compilation process by default. Okay. Upon we are writing the code, for every 10 fraction of seconds, so for every 10 seconds, whatever the code that you have written inside this editor, this entire code will be sending to the first.com platform for the compilation process. So now if the code has been compiled successfully, then no problem. If the code is not compiled successfully, then it will be showing the error messages over here itself. You can see the error messages also. Now for example, assume that here I am going to be just removing this semicolon here. I'm not writing anything here, I'm not saving anything, just I'm removing this semicolon, just the way I'm waiting for some time. So within 10 fraction of seconds, your code will be sending to the first.com platform, it will compile that. Now it is indicating that there is an exclamation symbol is available, that means there is a problem. There is an error inside this code. What is that code? It is indicating that there is a problem is available. Once you expand this tab bar, which we have inside this developer console, go to that problems tab. Once you go to the problems tab, it is indicating over here. It is indicating that missing semicolon at a boolean. That means what? Before boolean, we have to end this statement properly by using semicolon, but the semicolon is missing in this place over here. So it is indicating that the error message to you. That means what? Whenever I'm typing the code, keep on, it will be sending the code to the first.com platform for the compilation. If the code has been compiled successfully, then no problem. If the code is not compiled, then it is going to be displaying the error message. Now simply I'm going to be writing that semicolon over here. Just I'm writing the semicolon. I'm not modifying anything here. For every 10 fraction of second, the code will send to the first.com platform for the compilation. It will verify that. Do we have any syntactical mistakes or not? Now, I haven't saved this code here. Now just have written that semicolon. So the code has been sent to the first.com platform. It has compiled. There is no compilation errors available inside this. Suppose here in this case, I am going to be writing this. Instead of boolean, some boolean 1. Now in this case, it will be giving some error also here. So now we don't have any such a data type boolean 1. It is indicating invalid type boolean 1. There is no such kind of data type here. So now here I am removing this one. Now for every few fraction of seconds, the code will send to the first.com platform for the compilation. So there is an auto compile option is available when coming to the developer console, so that no need to send the code to that first.com platform compilation manually. There is an auto compile option is available to you. The two, it is providing the IntelliSense feature also. Like for example, if I'm writing the class code, like as some messaging. Now it is providing the IntelliSense feature. That means what? Online help will be available. So what internal methods are available, variables are available, properties are available, everything we can able to see over here. That IntelliSense feature will be available to you. Suppose if I am using that system dot, we can able to get all the functionalities whatever we have inside your system class. Each and everything will be available to you. No need to remember the syntax. That syntax will be getting visible automatically. If you want to use this debug, simply click on debug. Syntax will be getting placing over there itself. Like that here, when coming to the developer console is providing that the auto compile option, and along with that it is going to providing the IntelliSense feature also. But this kind of facility will not be available to you inside the standard navigation here. Standard navigation is purely looking like as a normal notepad, white background and the black text. Okay, clear? Now, there we have save and the quick save button. So now when you observe this one entire editor, do we have any save button inside this one? No. In this case, if you want to save the code explicitly by your own, how? I don't want to wait till 10 fraction of seconds. I want to save my code immediately right away. Then what we can do? Use that Control S. Once you click on this Control S, automatically the code will be saving perfectly inside your database here. Okay? Clear? Now, the next one. Now here let me show you. Sir, already I have written a class code by using that standard navigation. Can I see that class code by using this editor? Yes. You can use multiple ways also, but ultimately class code will be storing inside that metadata repository only here. Okay? So now we can use as the standard navigation or the developer console also. It may be Eclipse IDE also. It may be any other mechanism also. But these are the multiple ways to interact with the code. Okay. Now, if you want to see that code which are written by using standard navigation, then what we can do? Just to go to the file menu, click on open. Because here I don't want to create a new one, I want to open that previously created class. Click on open. Now it is providing a dialog box to you. Here you can select the entity type, what kind of entity you want to see, what components you want to see. You want to see the classes, triggers, pages, objects, or what you want to see. I want to see the classes here. Once you click on these classes, it will list out what are the various classes that you have prepared. So now we can arrange the classes in the alphabetical order also. So now I want to see the class which I have prepared, that is called as sample class. Just you can double click on this class name, the class code will be getting opened automatically for you here. So that you can use any mechanism also whatever you want. So whatever the classes you have prepared from the standard navigation, those classes you can access from the developer console. Developer console to standard navigation, everywhere we can able to access it here. But these are the multiple mechanisms are available to access that code. That's it. Okay? Clear? Now. So now here in this case here, let me give that example. So now we are having that benefits. The first benefit is what? Auto compile. It provides the auto compile option where for each 10 seconds the Apex code will send to the force.com platform for the compilation, and it will represent the errors, if any. If there is any errors are available, it will be getting represented here. Inside the problems tab. Second, it provides the IntelliSense facility. It provides the IntelliSense facility. We are having this IntelliSense feature is available as part of this developer console. These are the two major benefits are available as part of this developer console. Now tell me from these two, which one is the best one? Which one you will prefer generally? Developer console, because we are having more benefits. So that better to go with the developer console here. Okay. When you go to the Visual Force programming, there will see one more option also, that is called as URL format. Okay. There also we can use that code. Next, the third one. Execute anonymous window. Where is this execute anonymous window? Now let's see practically here. By using this execute anonymous window, not only writing the code, we can able to compile, we can execute that code also, we can see the result. Okay. So now this execute anonymous window is not only to write the code, we can write, We can compile, we can execute, we can see the results also. That possibility is available here. Now, by using this editor, we can write, compile, execute, and we can view the results. In the debug log file. Inside this debug log file, we can see the results also. Then what is the navigation? Now let's see. Go to the developer console editor. Click on debug menu. And then click on open execute anonymous window. Or else I will give you a shortcut mechanism. From developer console, use the shortcut Control E. Then write the code inside the editor and then click on execute or execute highlighted button. And then view the results in the debug log file. Debug log is a log file which is a result file in which you will be having your application execution flow and the history. Now, the drawback is whatever the code that you have written inside this execute anonymous window, that code will not be saving into the metadata repository. It's like as an immediate window, just to write some piece of code to execute to see the result. That's it. That means to check whether a piece of code is working properly or not. To check that one, we are using this execute anonymous window. In order to invoke some piece of code, we are using this execute anonymous window. But whatever the code that we are written inside this editor, after writing that code, suppose in tomorrow if you are going to be accessing the application from a different system, previously written code will not be visible to you. That code will be lost automatically. Okay, so that we have to maintain a notepad again in my local system. After executing the code, if it is working fine, copy that code, paste inside your notepad, and we have to save into local system. Okay. Now, it won't save the compiled code inside the metadata repository. It won't save the compiled code inside the metadata repository. The benefit is it provides the intelligence feature. It provides the intelligence feature upon writing the code. Upon writing the code, it is providing the intelligence feature to you. Done? Now, so now let's see how can we write the piece of code inside this execute anonymous window. How can we execute, how to see the results. Now let's see practically. Now, so let's go to your developer console. Here the developer console editor. From here, we can go to the execute anonymous window. Go to the debug menu on the top menu bar. Expand it. You will be having the first option called as open execute anonymous window. Once you click on this, now a separate editor will be getting open for you. Okay. Now, or else if you're feeling difficulty to go to that debug and click on that menu item, simply we can use from this one just to go to that Control E. We can use that shortcut mechanism also here. Now we can expand this, the editor. We can make it maximize. So we are having totally 3 steps. Initially, we have to go to your Salesforce instance. From the Salesforce instance to the developer console. From there, we have to go to that execute anonymous window. These are the 3 steps are available. You will be having that your Salesforce instance to developer console to execute anonymous window here. Okay, these are the 3 steps. So now here I am writing some piece of code to execute that. System.debug. Welcome to Apex Programming. Just I am writing some piece of code over here. Okay, I am writing that piece of code. So now whatever the code that you want, we need to write that code inside this editor over here. Okay, now depends upon your requirement, whatever the piece of code that you want, we can able to write that code inside this particular editor. Once the code has been getting written, in order to execute that code, we are having the 2 small buttons are available here. When you come to the bottom right corner, you will be having 2 buttons, execute and the execute highlighted. 2 buttons are available. Execute button and the execute highlighted button. Now then what is the difference between these 2 buttons over here? Execute in the sense, suppose for example, inside this editor I have written some 100 lines of code. Okay, the 100 lines of code I have written. I want to execute all the 100 lines of code. Then simply click on execute button. Click on this execute button. So whatever the code is available inside this entire editor, the whole code will be sending to the first.com platform for the compilation and for the execution process. But sometimes I don't want to execute the whole code. So now only the first 5 lines of code I want to execute. So select this 5 lines of code which you want to execute, click on execute highlighted button. Only the selected lines of code will be getting executed. Instead of executing the whole code, it will execute only the first 5 lines of code which are selected, that will be executed here. For that one, we are having execute button, execute highlighted button here. 2 buttons are available. Execute button will be sending the whole code for the execution process. Execute highlighted button will send only the selected lines of code for that execution here. Okay. So now in this case, depends upon your requirement, we can able to write that code here. After writing this code, we can click on execute or execute highlighted in order to see the results. Okay. So now here are you getting the IntelliSense feature or not here? Yes, we are getting the IntelliSense feature. System dot, we can get that IntelliSense features also here. All the methods, properties, classes, everything will be getting available to you over here. Suppose if you want to use some math class, in that math class, what are the methods are available, we can see. Math dot, we can see all the methods. Absolute method, okay, cos, okay, and then sine method, tan method, and then you will be having that ceil method, and then you will be having the clone method, cos method, cos h, all the trigonometrical functions, math function, logarithmic function, exclamation functions, everything will be getting available over here. All the methods will be getting available to inside this. If you want to use some mod function, simply specify mod. Now it is providing that method.mod function here. Depends upon your requirement. X, y. You have to supply the 2 values. If you want to use any string related function, then you can specify string dot. You will be getting that all the methods here. String dot equals method. So now it is having that equals method, which is going to be comparing whether both the strings are equals or not by considering the case also here. Okay, by using binary comparison like that, all the methods will be getting available. If you want to send some email notification, we have to use that class called as messaging dot single email message class. By using this class, we can send the email notification to the required email IDs, okay, through programming also. Okay, like that here we are having that so many ready-made features has been given by Salesforce as part of development. So instead of remembering all these things manually by our own, we can use this IntelliSense feature which has been given by the developer console as well as Execute Anonymous Editor or window also both. Okay, clear? Now, no, there is no autosave option. Because whatever the code that I have written here, this code will not be saving permanently inside the metadata repository. The code will be getting available till the next session. Okay. So now whenever we are logging into the application from a different browser or from a different system, automatically this code will not be available. This code will be lost automatically. Okay. Basically, this editor has been given by Salesforce to execute the piece of code. Okay, in order to execute that, we are using this. But it is not only execution. We can write some code. We can test that code also whether it is working properly or not. Okay. Now, this is the third mechanism here. The fourth one, during the Eclipse IDE, we can able to see this concept over here. Okay, during the Eclipse IDE, we will see this concept. How to install that Visual Studio Code Editor and then how to connect to the Salesforce, how to perform the operations, we'll see. These are the 4 ways are available in Salesforce to write your Apex programming code. Now let's see the ways to execute the Apex code. How many ways are available to execute your Apex programming code? Basically, in order to execute your Apex programming code, we are having 9 ways are available in Salesforce. In Salesforce, we are having 9 ways are available to execute your Apex programming code. So now, we have the below 9 ways. The first one is by using Execute Anonymous window. Through Execute Anonymous window, also we can able to execute that code. Second one, by using the triggers. With the help of triggers, also we can invoke your Apex programming code. Third one is by using that batch programming. This is also called as the batch Apex. Fourth one, by using schedule programming. This is also called as schedule Apex. Fifth one, by using that email services. Sixth one, by using process builder. Seventh one, by using Visualforce pages. Eighth one, by using web services or APIs. Ninth one, by using Eclipse IDE or VS Code Editor tool. These are the 9 ways are available, okay, as part of your Salesforce instance in order to invoke your Apex programming code. We can execute that code from the Execute Anonymous window or from a trigger, from the batch class, schedule class, email services, process builder, Visualforce programming or the Visualforce pages. We can use the third-party tools also, and we can use the web services or APIs. These are the total 9 ways are available through which we can able to invoke your Apex programming code. Done? Now. So now let's see how can we write some small piece of code, how to execute, how to see the results inside your debug log file. Then where exactly the debug log file is available, how to see the debug log file. Now let's see practically here. Okay, now make a note over here. Upon writing and executing the Apex code by using execute anonymous window, we have to follow the below steps. Okay, go to the below steps in order to write and execute the code. Go to the developer console and go to the execute anonymous window. Go to the execute anonymous window. Inside this, write the business logic inside the editor. For example, I'm writing like a system.debug some welcome. Okay, some welcome. And select the checkbox open log. Click on developer console, click on execute button. Go to the developer console editor. Select the debug only checkbox. Select the debug only checkbox and view the results. Select the debug only checkbox and view the results. These are the steps we need to follow. Upon writing the code by using that execute anonymous window and upon executing and upon observing the results, we have to follow these steps. Open log checkbox we need to select every time. Once you select that, it will be saving permanently. If I'm not selecting the checkbox, what will happen? If I'm selecting, what will happen? I will show you both the things practically now. Done with the steps? Now. So now let's see how can we follow these steps in order to write and to execute the piece of code. For example, let me go to this execute anonymous window. Let's see how can we write this a piece of code. Let me show you practically. Write the piece of code. At the bottom, you will be having execute button, execute anonymous window, execute highlighted button. I'm not selecting the open log checkbox. There is a small checkbox is there open log. I'm not selecting this one. Observe what will happen in this case. Click on execute button. A small pop-up has been opened, has been gone. That means request has been sent to the server for the compilation for the execution process. Now the request has been sent to the server. Now let's go to that developer console back again. Now go to that tab bar which we have inside this, the developer console. Click on the logs tab. Okay, click on logs tab. A log file has been generated right now. Double click on this log file. Now it is indicating your application execution history. Okay, it is indicating that execution history. This is the application execution process. So now it is indicating that user information that already told you. Upon submitting the data for the execution, every request has to be get authorized by the Force.com platform so that it will collect that user information. Based on the user ID, based on the username, it will verify whether this user is in active status or not. If the user is in active status, then it will go to the user's profile. In this user profile, it will verify whether this user is having the rights to execute some Apex classes or not by selecting that, by verifying that other Apex permission. If it is having that, then only the execution will be getting started here. Once execution has been started, then it is collecting the code. Where the code is available inside that, the code is collecting from that execute anonymous window. From there, to execute that code, whatever the internal components are required, each and every internal components will be allocating the memory over here. It will start executing that code. Upon executing that code, it is going to be displaying the message over here. After that, we will verify how many DML statements we have used, how many SOQL queries, SOSL queries, email notification, web services invocations, everything will be tracking that information here. And finally, it is indicating that code execution has been finished. Okay. The whole execution history will be available inside this log file. Now, in this case, you can raise a question, sir, I have written only one line of code. It is showing this much of very big log file. Then how can I understand where exactly the result? In this case, no need to look into the entire log file. Just to go to this log file, select the checkbox debug only. Once you click on this debug, that means don't show that entire execution process to me. I don't want that internal execution process. I want to see only my results, which are printed by using system.debug statement. Please print only those results to me so that I can see that result. So select the checkbox debug only. Now it is showing that only the results which you are printing right now by using system.debug statements. Only the system.debug statements will be getting visible to you over here. The background process, whatever the other code that you are written, that will not be visible to you over here. So this is a process we have to follow to see the results of your Apex programming execution code. Now, in this case, you can raise a question, sir, this is looking like a very lengthy process. Do we have any shortcut mechanism? Some steps we can reduce. Okay, how? Let me show you. As of now, what we are doing, we are going to the execute anonymous window, writing the code, click on execute button, come back to the developer console editor, and then go to that logs tab, select that log file, double click on the log file, select the debug only checkbox, you can see that. This is the lengthy process. But every time I don't want to go to the logs tab, I don't want to select that log file, double click on that. This is very lengthy for me. I don't want to do this one. So that upon executing that code, select that checkbox, open log. So now inside this execute anonymous window, there is a checkbox called as open log. Once you can select, that will be saving permanently. Okay, no need to save or select every time here. Select that checkbox, open log. Now we can execute. Once you click on execute, then go back to the developer console. Now debug log file has been opened for you. Previously, we have opened the debug log file, but double click on that manually. But now, log file has been opened for you. Just you can select the debug only checkbox. You can see the results also here. Okay, so that no need to select that, double click on that log file to open it manually every time. Just you can able to select that open log checkbox inside your execute anonymous window. That's what I have given the navigation over here. After writing the code, select that checkbox, open log, and then click on that execute button to execute that code. Go to the developer console editor directly and then select the debug only checkbox. You can see the results here. Okay, this is the way we have to follow, because the writing the code, executing the code is a bit different from the other programming languages. Okay, clear? Understood the steps here? Upon writing the code, from now onwards we are following the same steps. Okay. As a step one, go to that execute anonymous window, write the code, and then click on execute button. Okay. So because here I'm no need to select the open lab checkbox every time. Once you select that, that will be saving permanently over there. Okay. And then execute that code, go to the developer console editor back, and then select the debug only checkbox. You can see the results here. 5 steps you have to follow. Okay. Now. So now let's see how can we write some small pieces of code here from now onwards. Okay. Now, as of now, we have discussed some fundamental basics, like how to write the code, how to define the variables, how to assign some values, everything we have discussed here. And then how many ways are there to write, how many ways are there to execute, all these things we have discussed. Now let's see, by using all these fundamental basics, we'll try to implement some small programs, and slowly we'll make the things a bit complex also. Okay, now. So now let's write a small program here. Write an Apex program to print the welcome message onto the debug log file. Write an Apex program to print the welcome message onto the debug log file. Now tell me how can we write this piece of code now. To print the message, what is the statement we need to use? System.debug. Now, I need to print some message welcome. Then directly I can print, or do I need to enclose in somewhere? Enclose in single quote. Single quote or double quote? Single quote, right. So we can specify the welcome. I'm writing that welcome to some Apex programming. Whatever the statement that you want, we can able to print. Okay. Now I want to write that code here. Where I'm going to be writing that code? Inside that execute anonymous window. Go to the execute anonymous window. Okay, let me open that execute anonymous window from now onwards here. I'm closing all the editors. Now, currently I'm into my Salesforce instance here. Now tell me how to go to that execute anonymous window now. Go to your name, click on developer console. So now developer console has been opened successfully. Now it has been loaded here. Now I want to open the execute anonymous window. How? I don't want to use a navigation. I want the shortcut. Control E, right. So just to go to that Control E, now the editor will be getting open for you. Maximize this editor. Now you will be having all the 3 editors are available. Your Salesforce instance, developer console, execute anonymous window, all the 3 editors. Okay, now. So now in this case here, no need to install any editors into your local system, no need to use any notepad, all these things to write the code. For that one, to write the code, to compile, to execute, whatever the resources are required, everything is available inside that browser itself. Okay, now. Even though I'm using the Apex programming code is not running in my local system. The code is sending to the Force.com platform. Inside the Force.com platform, the code will get compiled. It will be running the code. Because the results will be getting generated, results will be sending back to me, and then I can see the result inside my browser itself here. Okay, all the operations I'm performing through the browser itself. No need to install anything into your local system. Okay, now. So now tell me how can we write this code? System.debug. Now do we need to follow any case sensitivity here? No. So directly we can use any case, uppercase, lowercase, combination also we can use, no problem. System.debug. I want to write that message, welcome to Apex programming. Okay. Welcome to Apex programming. I'm writing one more statement also here. System.debug. So this is my first Apex program. Okay, I'm writing one more message also. This is my first Apex program. So now here I have written this a piece of code. So I'm printing the two messages here. Now I want to execute this entire code. How? Click on execute button. Once you click on execute, then where we can see the result. Go back to the developer console. And then debug log file has been loaded successfully. Now select that debug only checkbox. Now we can able to see the results here. Now welcome to Apex programming. This is my first Apex program. Both the statements have been printed, the messages. Those messages we can able to see from that debug log file. Okay, clear? The next one. Sometimes you can raise a question, sir, I want to execute only the second line of code. Then what we can do? Select the second line of code. Then what is the button we need to use? Execute highlighted. Click on execute highlighted. Request has been sent to the server. Go to the developer console. Debug log file has been loaded. Select the checkbox debug only. Now we can see only that second statement execution results will be visible to you. Okay, so that depends upon your requirement. We can able to execute the whole code, or we can execute the piece of code also by selecting those lines of code. Okay, clear? The next one. Feeling comfortable with the navigation? Okay. If you are able to implement some basic programs perfectly, then remaining concepts will be very easy for you. Foundation should be strong always. Okay. If you know the basic things, then complex programs also we can understand very easily. We can able to implement very easily also. Now. Done. Next one. Write an Apex program to define two integer variables and assign the values and perform and print the results and print the values. I want to print the values here. Simply, I want to define two variables. I want to assign some value for those variables. I want to print it. So now tell me how to define, how to assign, how to print. I want to define two integer variables here. What is the syntax? Data type and variable name. Right. Now, I'm going back to that here. I'm defining the variable. Integer, I'm indicating that variable name. First number, second number. Two variables I have defined. So now whenever I'm defining these two variables, what will happen internally? At that time, Salesforce is going to be allocating some amount of memory. 4 bytes of memory will be getting allocated for this particular first number variable. And then another 4 bytes of memory will be getting reserved. And this 4 bytes of memory will be getting allocating for that second number variable. Then in this case, what is the default value is available over here? Default value is null. Here also null. Here also null. Now then what is the guarantee to me? What is the confirmation that it is having null values by default? How do we know it is storing null? How do we know? Just you can print it. Whatever the values are, just print it, then it will show what values are available by default here. Now I want to print that because for my confirmation, for my curiosity, so now I want to know that, so now what values are available inside this variable so that I would like to print. So now let me print these values over here. I am printing that. System.debug, the first number. Whatever the value is available inside the variable, I am going to printing that variable here. Like the similar way. System.debug, second number. In that second number variable, whatever the value is there, I would like to print that values. Okay. Now I'm printing that first number variable value and the second number variable value also I'm printing by using that system.debug statement. Let's click on execute button. See the results. It is loading the debug log file. Select the debug only checkbox. What values are there? Null and null. Now this first null is for what? Second null is for what? First null is for which variable? First number. Second value is for second number. How do we know? As a programmer, I know because that is the order I have defined. Then how the normal end user will know that? But suppose, for example, if I'm having some 100 variables are there, then how can we understand? Suppose, for example, I want to design a small login screen. Come to a scenario. I want to design a small login screen. In this login screen, I am providing the text boxes here. To enter the username, one text box. To enter the password, another text box. To perform that operation, I am providing the two buttons over here. Login, cancel. Now tell me where we need to enter username, where we need to enter password. Which text box is for username, which text box is for password. The people who are regularly interacting with this kind of application, they will know. Suppose if the user is a new user, then how this user will know what is this first text box, what is the second text box. For that one, we have to indicate some clear indication, right? Like some username. Here I am indicating some password. Now tell me, do we have any clear indication? Yes, even though he may be a new person today, he is accessing the application, he can understand very easily. First text box is used to enter the username, second text box is used to enter password. So in this case, like the similar way, whenever I am going to display this values, it is simply showing null and the null. But I don't want to display null and null. I want to show some message also. Like as first number is null, second number is null. I want to show that. I want to prepare a formatting output over here. Okay. Now, in this case, I want to do some formatting over here. How can we do that? Now let's see. System.debug. I want to show some message here. Now, the first number is. Now tell me this is what? String or normal variable here? String. Now here I am having that variable here. First number. First number is what? A variable. Which is of type what? Integer. Now I want to show first number is, and then I want to show that the number value here. Now how can we concatenate these two? What is that symbol? Plus symbol. Okay. Plus is for the concatenation. If I am using that, the plus symbol between the two operands, from these two, if any one of the operand is of type string, it will do that what? Concatenation. So that here you have the string and here the numerical variable over here. First number is of type integer. So both will be getting concatenated here. System.debug. Second number is, I want to show that. Okay, second number. I am displaying these values over here, both. Okay. So now here I am displaying some message also. Initially, I am displaying only the null and the null, but the people can't understand what is the first null value, what is the second null value. Now I am indicating clearly. Here I am giving a line break here. System.debug, I am giving a line break so that the people can understand very clearly here. Now click on execute. See the results. Select the debug only checkbox. Now initially it is indicating both are null, simply null. But now the second time we are printing that first number is null, second number is null. So that the people can understand very clearly over here. Okay? Clear? Depends upon the requirement, whatever the format that you want, we can able to print that. Okay? Now, I want to assign some values here. How can we assign? I want to display that. I want to assign some values. How to assign the value? Okay. First number equals to some 45,000. Second number equals to, I'm assigning that some 500. I'm assigning some value here. Because whenever if you want to assign the value, we have to follow the syntax. Already we have discussed. Now, once the variables has been getting defined, we can able to assign the values over here, assigning the values. For that one, we can specify the variable name equals to value. You know that here. If it is a string type, then we have to specify in that enclose in that single quotation here. But this is normal numerical variable, so directly we can assign the value also. Okay? Now, you know that concept here. How to define and how to retrieve the values, everything you are aware of that here. Now, I want to print that values here. System.debug. First number value is, I want to show that. I'm displaying that first number. After assigning the values, I'm displaying this. System.debug. Second number value is, I want to show that. Okay, second number. So, initially I have defined the variables. Whenever I'm defining the variables, by default it is storing the default value as null. Here also null, here also null. And then here I'm displaying some message, okay, value along with the message also, so that the people can understand very clearly. So that here I'm displaying that value along with the message also. And then I'm able to assign some value for the variables, and then I'm going to be displaying that values also here. Okay. Now click on execute button. Request has been sent to the server. Debug log file has been loaded. Select the debug only checkbox. Now it is indicating. Initially the values are null, and then I'm displaying that values along with the message. After assigning the values, now the first number variable will be having the value 45,000. Second number will be having the value as 500. Like that, we can define the variables, we can initialize with some value, and we can print that values also. Okay? Clear? Now make a note of this code. But do the practice regularly, okay, for the development. Okay? Not much time, just a half an hour. That is sufficient. Because syntax is very, very important. Initially, upon doing the practice, you might be getting some errors also. Okay, don't worry about that. Okay, check the syntax perfectly. If the syntax is wrong, do the corrections. Still, if you are facing any problem, then take a screenshot of that error message and then copy the code, whatever you have written, send it to me here through that email notification. So whatever the email ID, okay, through which you got the drive access, just to send the reply back to that. Okay, go to your drive email ID, whatever the drive email ID that we have. Okay, to that just to give the reply back by specifying that your code and your error message screenshot also both. I want the screenshot and the code also both. I can understand more. Okay. Yes. Unexpected token. What is the code that you are written? Okay. Might be you have given some space in that variable name. Okay. And in that variable names, have you given any spaces? First number is one variable, nothing but single word. Second number should be single word. Okay. Okay. Might be the variable definition problem. Okay, I will give you that code also now. Done? Now. Next one. Write a small program here. Write an Apex program to define the two numerical variables assign the values for the variables and perform all the mathematical calculations. And perform all the mathematical calculations. Now tell me what we can do now first. Without defining the variables, can I assign the value directly? No. Okay. Apex is tightly coupled programming language. So first of all, define the variable, then only we have to use that variables. Okay. Now. So now let me define the two variables first. Integer first number comma second number. To store that result value, I am using one more variable over here. Okay, I am using that result variable. Whenever I am defining these three variables, then what is the default value has been stored inside these three variables? Null value by default. Okay. If you did not assign any value, then by default, Apex compiler is assigning the null value for these variables. And that null values, if you are doing any mathematical operation, always you will be getting the result as null. So I don't want to perform the operations on the null values. I want to assign some values here. So I'm assigning that first number equals to some 5,000. Second number equals to some 10,000. Okay. First number equals to 5,000. Second number equals to 10,000 over here. Now, I want to perform some operations here. What is the first operation you want to do? Addition, I want to do that. How can we do that? Result equals to what we can do? First number plus second number. Okay, first number plus second number. I want to show the result here. System.debug addition result is, I want to show that result. So now here I am going to be performing the addition of these two values. First number plus second number, I am performing the addition by using that plus symbol. I am storing that result inside the result variable, and then I am going to printing that result value. Okay, now let me execute this piece of code. Request has been sent to the server. See the results by selecting the debug only checkbox. Now it is indicating that addition result is 15,000. Okay, the first number is 5,000, second number is 10,000. So both will be having that 15,000 as an addition result. Like the similar way, I want to perform the remaining operations. Result equals to first number minus second number. I want to show the result. Now the subtraction result. subtraction result is, I want to show that result value. And the third operation, first number into the second number. I want to show the message. Multiplication result is result. I want to use it. Result equals to first number by second number. I want to show that. Division result is, I would like to indicate result. I'm performing the operation. I'm storing the result inside the result variable. I'm printing the result value. That's it. Okay. Initially, I'm taking that two variables to hold the values. To store the result, I'm using the result variable. I'm assigning the value for both the variables. I'm performing the addition of both the values and I'm storing the results inside my result variable now and I'm printing that. Like the similar way, I'm going to performing the subtraction operation, store the result value inside the result variable and then print the value. Like that, I'm performing the multiplication and the division operation also. Right. On the same two values, I'm performing all the mathematical calculations. Okay. If you want some different variables, then you can define that multiple variables over here. Okay. Now, so now let me execute this piece of code. Click on execute. Select the debug only checkbox. Now we can see the results. Addition result is 15,000. Subtraction result is minus 5,000. Multiplication result, division result is 0. Like that here we can able to perform all the operations. Okay, clear? So this is how we are going to be writing some small piece of code. Okay, tomorrow we'll see some more examples on this basic programming and then we'll see the concept of commenting statements and then we'll see the concept of conditional statements. What exactly the conditional statements available in Apex programming, how to use those conditional statements, we'll see practically. Okay. But do the practice on this one today, whatever we have discussed.